Welcome to today's Explainer. We are breaking down 15 absolutely massive global and domestic stories from May 4th, 2026. Some days the news cycle is pretty quiet, but definitely not today. We're looking at high-stakes geopolitical shifts, major legal rulings, sudden business collapses, and some really profound cultural milestones. It's a whole lot to take in, I know, but we're going to walk through exactly what you need to know so you have a crystal clear understanding of the world right now. Let's get right into it. So here's our quick agenda for today. We've organized this into 5 clear sections. Section 1, global conflicts and ceasefires. Section 2, U.S. news and legal shifts. Section 3, worldwide safety incidents. Section 4, business and travel disruptions. And finally, Section 5, society, culture, and milestones. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, global conflicts and ceasefires. We're looking at some high-stakes shifts in geopolitics. What's really fascinating right now is how we're seeing 2 completely different approaches to global ceasefires playing out at the exact same time. Looking at the Middle East, we have a really fragile 10-week truce with Iran that's actively being tested right now following recent attacks on commercial vessels. It's basically a tense, long-term waiting game where just one misstep could reignite the whole region. But then you contrast that anxiety with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Over there, we're seeing highly specific, targeted, multi-day truces tied directly to the calendar. Russia actually declared a unilateral ceasefire specifically for May 8th and 9th for their Victory Day. That's the 81st anniversary of defeating Nazi Germany. And right away, in an immediate countermove, President Zelensky announced a Ukrainian truce starting May 6th. So you've got 2 vastly different geopolitical strategies here, and both carry massive implications for global stability. And these simmering tensions, they force immediate real-world security actions. Because of those recent commercial vessel attacks in the Middle East we just mentioned, President Trump just launched a dedicated naval mission to safely escort and guide ships through the Strait of Hormuz, which is obviously one of the world's most critical oil choke points. Meanwhile, over in Russia, that upcoming Victory Day has triggered some serious domestic paranoia. Authorities are literally blacking out cell phone internet access in both Moscow and St. Petersburg. They're trying to completely paralyze communication networks to prevent any potential drone attacks during their high-profile military parades. It really shows how quickly international conflict turns into extreme, high-stakes security logistics on the ground.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, U.S. news and legal shifts. Let's look at key domestic updates and legal battles.
We're starting stateside with a massive legal shift that has immediate nationwide implications. The Supreme Court has definitively ruled to fully restore mail-order access to the abortion pill mifepristone. Now, this decision completely reverses a lower court's previous ban on mailing the medication. As one of the most closely watched legal battles of the year, this ruling instantly alters the landscape of reproductive healthcare access across the entire country, ensuring the medication stays broadly available through telemedicine and mail delivery. It's absolutely a major legal precedent that will shape future healthcare litigation. The gravity of the day continues right in Washington, D.C., with 2 fast-moving, highly concerning stories out of the political sphere. First up, an incredibly chaotic security incident unfolded right in the heart of the Capitol. The Secret Service actually exchanged gunfire with an armed suspect near the National Mall and the White House, locking down the surrounding areas as it all escalated. Adding to that already heavy atmosphere today, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has been hospitalized and is currently in critical condition. Details on his specific illness are really limited right now, but medical teams are working closely with him and will definitely be monitoring that situation for further updates. Let's transition to Section 3, worldwide safety incidents. We're tracking some major global emergencies and ongoing rescues. It is a really tough day for emergency responders across the globe. They are stretched incredibly thin right now, dealing with 3 totally different but equally devastating crises. Out at sea, health authorities are scrambling to contain a terrifying biological threat, a suspected hantavirus outbreak linked to rodents on a Dutch-based cruise ship. It's tragically claimed 3 lives already and triggered strict quarantines. Over in Europe, authorities in Germany are managing the horrific aftermath of an intentional vehicle ramming. A driver violently rammed into a crowded area, leaving 2 dead and at least 20 injured in a shocking daytime attack. And down in South America, desperate rescue operations are underway right now in Brazil after a massive aviation disaster, where a plane crashed directly into a populated building. First responders are actively digging through the wreckage as we speak. It's just a very sobering look at the real-time safety challenges happening around the world today.
All right, Section 4, business and travel disruptions. Let's talk about chaos in the skies and some massive event planning.
So, if you're traveling right now or planning to soon, you might want to listen up. The global travel sector is getting hit hard from two completely different directions today. First, the aviation industry was completely rocked this morning by the sudden, immediate shutdown of Spirit Airlines. This isn't just some quiet corporate restructuring. It triggered instant, widespread travel chaos for tens of thousands of stranded passengers, not to mention wiping out the financial certainty for the carrier's massive workforce. But looking a little further out, the travel economy is facing another big hurdle. The American Hotel and Lodging Association is actually waving a massive red flag about the 2026 World Cup. Believe it or not, hotel bookings are shockingly falling short of expectations. They're pointing straight at strict visa barriers and rapidly rising travel costs as the main culprits keeping international fans at home. To try and proactively tackle exactly those kinds of World Cup logistical nightmares we just looked at, New York is making a pretty unprecedented administrative move. Governor Kathy Hochul just tapped Justin Brannan as the state's dedicated events czar. His one job? Overseeing the massive multi-billion-dollar operations for both the World Cup and America's upcoming 250th birthday celebrations. It's clear local governments are realizing that handling the sheer scale of these global milestones requires some serious central leadership to ensure the infrastructure, security, and tourism sectors don't just completely buckle under the pressure of millions of visitors. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Society, Culture, and Milestones. Major awards, passings, and social studies. Today, they announced the 2026 Pulitzer Prizes for breaking news. And honestly, it is such a vital reminder of the power and absolute necessity of local journalism during unthinkable community tragedies. The dedicated staff of the Minnesota Star-Tribune won for their deeply empathetic, necessary coverage of a devastating school shooting in their community. At the exact same time, the Seattle Times staff was recognized for their extensive, life-saving reporting on catastrophic regional flooding that displaced thousands. When disaster strikes, it's these local reporters on the ground who act as the most critical lifeline, providing essential information to the communities they call home. 36. The sports world lost an absolute legend today. And this number honors the incredible 36 seasons of iconic play-by-play calls given to us by longtime Yankees broadcaster John Sterling, who passed away today at 87. For nearly 4 decades, his voice was literally the soundtrack to New York baseball. It was an unmatched run of consistency and passion that forever cemented him in the culture of the sport. All right, we're going to end today's Explainer with a fascinating question that's probably sparking some fierce debate in your own living room right now. Are school cell phone bans actually working? Well, a new New York Times report on cell phone bans in U.S. schools reveals a really surprising truth. Even though these bans are wildly popular with parents and administrators for cutting down classroom distractions, they haven't actually led to an immediate bump in student test scores. It forces educators to fundamentally re-examine their assumptions. If academic scores aren't jumping up right away, what is the real metric of success for our students moving forward in a digital age? Thank you so much for exploring these massive global stories with us today, and remember to keep questioning the data.